Hello everyone, my name's Binks and welcome back to Let's Play Paranormasight, the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. Last episode, we got to see the ending of the prologue, which was focused on Shogo. And unfortunately, it looks like no matter what we do, the poor guy was destined to die. So now he's dead and we have moved on, and there are apparently 3 protagonists that we can play as for the rest of the game. And right now we're starting with the first one. Her name is Harue. Here we go. Harue Shigima. She's the scary lady with the fire. She has the haunting clappers as her curse echo, and she's out to solve the mystery and to bring back her poor child who was murdered. I feel bad for her, but I'm also like she's really scary, real scary. But you know how they said, don't mess with the mother. So I'm not surprised that she's so creepy. Hold on. Oh. I thought we could like get a better angle at it, but guess not. About the investigation. That's what you hired me for, ma'am. To look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima. Oh yes, I remember. They never did find the one who did it. That's what I'm here about today, in fact. Kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. I've been turning up over every last stone, and I've come up with a grand total of 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway. I remember. You were just about to tell me. Okay. Overview of the case. Alright. The Shigima kidnapping. A kidnapping and murder case that took place in Honjo, Sumida around 1 year ago. Harue Shigima's son, Shuichi, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school, with a ransom being demanded that same evening. Initially, the kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigema family was closely tied to the police, and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting upon a grudge against the police force. The kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. This made it all the more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit, losing the public's confidence. The culprit grew cocky, relentlessly mocking the police force. After 3 days of failure after failure, Harue reached a breaking point. Spurred by concern for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible, but her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused, saying that they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. Oh, this is so sad. The increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. Another week passed and Shuichi's body was found floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with the stringent media embargoes. The investigation was never closed, but the case has long gone cold. That's horrible. Person of interest? Oh, that's him. Oh, this makes my heart ache. I feel so sad. Elementary school student, Shuichi. The only son of Harue Shigima. He was kidnapped and murdered 1 year ago. His body was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi was a conscientious, brave young boy who was determined to protect his mother Harue amid his father's frequent absences. He dreamed of becoming a police officer and displayed diligence and an impressive sense of responsibility from a young age, likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment. Born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies, including playing piano, learning the abacus, taking English lessons, and training in kendo. Abacus. Isn't abacus something for math? Hold on. Gotta look it up. Abacus. Like a traditional way of math, I think. I could be wrong. What's an abacus? Yeah, it's that, they consider it kind of like a toy, but, like, it's like that, it's like a board of strings, and it has beads on them, and you can use it by sliding the beads back and forth to, like, count or whatever. It's interesting. It's like almost like an old-time calculator. Huh. Interessante. Where was I? Training in Kendo. Okay. Shuichi's tendency to put other people's needs over his own meant he died without ever telling his classmates how much he longed for them all to go out on a hunt for mockingbird stickers. That's so sad. So young. Y'all. This game's gonna make me sad, isn't it? A lot of good people dying and stuff. Okay, about the kidnapping. I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I'll leave that for the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case. The police traded the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, Northern Oyoko River, here in Sumida City. That's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. But it was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute. Factoring in that he was seen at school, but went missing before he arrived at his house, it's likely that he was abducted by a car on his route home. Maybe, but... Exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gotten into a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I know he understood. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So, did they target him at some other time, or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? Was it someone he knew and trusted? That's usually what they say happens for a lot of these kidnappings. A lot. The police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must just have gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? You mean turnabout? Oh, again? The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into their car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is if they were somebody that he would have a reason to trust. Yeah! You see? I told you guys, I frickin' should be like a detective or something. I should be a private eye. I feel like by now I've seen and read enough mysteries and stuff that I could be pretty good at figuring a lot of this stuff out, okay? The only problem would be all the legwork, all the running around. I would have a hard time with that. And plus, you have to be really good with people, right? You have to be smart and observant, and you also have to have a smooth talking kind of way. Like, you have to be good at handling people. And I feel like that would be hard for me. I'm a little too socially awkward to be able to pull some of that off. A teacher, perhaps, or a relative. Or somebody else that he knew. But all of the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew? Or rather... what if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? Oh no! That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. And that's the scary part, like, even in real life to this day, that could happen. At any time, somebody could pretend to be a cop or something, or a fireman, in order to like gain entry into a home or do whatever they want to do, right? Super scary. The Shikimo family has close ties with the police after all. He would have had a reason to trust them. You might be right. But surely that couldn't have. Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point, after all. They're meant to be a visible deterrent against crime. So somebody would have said, oh yeah, I saw him talking to a cop. No, nothing new. Okay. Still? Wow, okay. But here's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Yeah, another kid, maybe. They used another kid to get him. Even kids who've been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect that danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Nah, you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car? I mean, he doesn't need to get into a car to give them directions. What the frick? He might have. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here. Then you think the culprit was a young woman. But it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case. Oh no. Oh god, there's so much... How long are we talking? You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what, why don't I tell you what I found and then we can make a decision. Alright. Oh, it's the same? Okay. I guess we're gonna just keep talking about the kidnapping itself before we even talk about the right. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See, when I said about people's biases, that goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. Very smart. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had. Do you mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say that for sure yet. Turned out he wanted something from me, so he asked if we could talk in private. Oh? Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around. We can speak in confidence. Excuse me. What was your name again? Oh, this guy looks weird. Janouchi. Giving him a nerdy voice, just because. Got it. Well, Janouchi, I'm all ears. He definitely has like a 70s, 80s type hair. Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Shuichi Shigema's kidnapping. Do I have that right? Of course. What else do I look like? How should I know what a private detective looks like? Ah, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger. I need your help. You'll excuse me if that caught me off a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who is trying to kill you? A student called Michio Shiraishi. Interesting. Schoolgirl, eh? The young girl? The other one? I don't remember. Sounds like you've been naughty.
It's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michio Shiraishi. I saw her kidnap Shuichi Shigema.
Come again?
I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it. Or at least she's got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can let her get to me. Then you can't let her get to me, sorry.
If that's true, you've been sitting on some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody?
Well, you see...
If you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you.
I couldn't. She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word.
You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life? So you've been sitting on that all this time, and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans?
Yes, that's it, exactly. I'm begging you, don't let her get me. Arrest her, I'm telling you, she's a demon.
I don't know, he's kind of shady. Well, you seem to believe what you're saying, but it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified?
You don't know what she can do. She'll curse me.
Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here. Look at that pouty mouth. What's up with the men pouting in this game? Him and the other detective guy.
It's true, her house, it's... forget it. Why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough. I'll find someone else to help me.
Hey! Her house. And that's about the long and short of it. I can hardly believe it. At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk. But I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it. Then, if we can just find that girl. Curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, and there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name's Kohei Jonochi. He's a teacher at Komagata High School here in Sumida. A teacher? Then this schoolgirl is one of his students? I think that's very likely. Interesting. More? At last, we've got a lead. Hopefully it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. Alright, I think that's it. Yep. You know, still need to figure out... Okay, so... Let's talk about the rite then. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about that in an occult magazine the other day. Apparently some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say that the rite can be found somewhere in Honjo. I remember the first time you told me about that. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope, real hope for the first time. She's desperate, man. That's really sad. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered. What if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I'd just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think that if I'd done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's why you're after the right. I guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. You can tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if the right is the real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul. She's like, I don't give a fuck. See? Look at those eyes. Oh, that's really effed up, man. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. Okay, so he does want to stop her. But he got there too late to stop her from killing us when we were Shogo? Oh, that's a shame. A shame, huh? That's all? I thought if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? No. I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. Sadly, I think she's right. Not any parent, but a good deal. A good amount. That's so, is it? Dear oh dear. What have I gotten myself into? Yeah. If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even for a client. I'm glad he has morals. I mean, you're already paying him as a client. I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. What do you have in mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soul dregs? But that means, I mean, you're dealing with a murder. Maybe that's why he was okay with her doing it to Shogo, because they've verified that Shogo had killed other people already. If that was all you were after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later. Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove? I mean, she'd be killing a murderer, so maybe he's like, eh. That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now. Oh, never mind. My. Interesting. No, it's the same. Okay. Alright, about my curse. Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The haunting clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. That sounds sensible. Okay. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person, is that right? That's right. In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. Seems like a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table. Honestly, I think Shogo's was more OP because hers is very limited. Because not everybody's walking around with a lighter, you know? Or a fire. You really think it's that good? The target can't do much to throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters, too. Just slip one into your target's pocket. Yeah, that's true. You could do that. And say that condition was already fulfilled before they even knew you're there. They wouldn't even know what hit them.
Maybe I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I said.
Threats could work, although without any proof it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse then back out at the last second.
At the last second. What an interesting idea.
Well, she was counting down seconds with Shogo, but she still used it on us, so...
I have a lighter right here. We could try it now.
That's an interesting proposition. Are you really gonna put your life at risk? Dude, no. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Thank you.
Oh, I see.
You're an odd one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just the curse.
You flatterer.
I mean, she's suffered, right? Losing a child? It's like it sucked her soul right out of her already. I do feel very sorry for her. More? Okay. As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then, have you decided what you want me working on?
I mean, we do want to know about the kidnapping. If we say help me with the right... I don't know. I'd rather he investigate the kidnapping.
Finally. Finally, I have a lead. I need to know what happened to my son.
Your wish is my command, ma'am. I'll focus all my efforts on looking into the kidnapping.
Although, something just occurred to me. You can't investigate the matter at night, can you? At least until the sun rises. Could you search for the other curse bearers?
Huh, alright. I see how it is. Well, I'd be happy to help. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. Be careful, man, because you could get killed. And once the city wakes up and I can start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try and find Miss Shiraishi as part of the bargain.
Thank you. That's more than enough.
Anything new? No. Now then. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout.
All right.
There's no telling what kind of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything.
I will.
Well, if that's all, I should be going.
So that explains why he wasn't with her. Interesting. I mean, if we wanted to, we could get like a little taste of the beginning of all of theirs. So her name is... Okay. So she's not the one he was talking about then. Interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of like debating if I should just, you know, finish one person completely before I start others. That probably makes sense, right? I still feel really bad about Shogo. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. And until next time, have a nice day. Bye.